Hello, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Shakatullah Safi, founder of TekGenie, and welcome back to this session, Idea to MVP in 6 weeks' time. And today's session is all about system design and architecture. I would like to invite my team and speak to them about this. This week, the second week, is all about the system design and architecture and the tools and frameworks which we'll be using throughout. So this call is specifically about the system design. The team would have had a chance by now to prepare something to share with me, given that they had a week of ideation. They've gone through the requirements. They have now started working on the design of the system. The two main people I would be interested to talk to about this is the lead of for front end and the lead for back end. However, the whole team needs to be involved. They can look at these designs, have an input from their side, or simply be in this call just to develop further, to understand how these kind of meetings are taking place. So before I cue them in, I just want to give you a little context about this call. We will bring them in, and we will talk as a team about the design choices, the architecture choices, and stuff which are being made. Criticize it if need be, praise it if need be, and support it. But essentially, this call is about that. So without further wait, let's cue them in. Let's get started with this call. Hello, everyone. So welcome back to the call, to this meeting. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone. Today we are going to talk about the system architecture and the design of the system. So just for our audience, we would like to just mention that it is the second week of the 6 weeks journey which we have started. This week we are working on the system design and its architecture, following our last week's efforts on the ideation and prototyping. Now, prototype is overlapping this week as well to be completed by the end of the week, and then the development team, you guys are working on the architecture and the design. So I wanted to hear from you guys, what have you decided, and what are we going to be using for this project? Bearing in mind that it is a fast-paced project, so you might have changed certain decisions and not doing it in the traditional way for any, for like normally you're using it for any other projects. So do mention what is going to be different and how are you going to adapt to this this project. Who wants to go first? Who wants to start?
I'll begin. So I'll share my screen as well. So I have been working on the modules and keeping it in theory. I had a few documents that I had created that I would like to share with everyone. So any and all feedback is welcomed. So let's begin with the authentication. So I have listed down a few requirements that we will be needing, like the things that I consider are necessary, and how are we going to approach this whole thing. So I created a diagram with it as well, and the model for the backend, the endpoints, everything is there. So well, starting it, the number one is the user should be navigated to the landing pages the first time they open the app. So basically what I was thinking is that this is kind of a new thing that we're trying to make, and not a lot of people would know how to explore throughout this application. So a few landing pages the first time they open this app would be helpful to get them up to speed on how this app system is actually working. So this is why I want that we add landing pages in this application. And also for those who are a bit accustomed to the tech, they would have the option to skip these landing pages if desired. Uh, and this is only going to come once, not every time they open this application. So if it is skipped, it won't pop up again. If it has been viewed once, it won't pop up again. So that's what the landing pages will be doing. The second thing is that the user should be having the option to create or log in their accounts, the basic for the auth for everyone. And the details that I am considering for account creation are very little, not a lot of details that I think would be a part of the model. The name of the user, the email password, phone number, and his date of birth, his or her date of birth, basically. So these are the 5 things that I think are what is going to make the most basic and generic user model for us. And I'm still concerned about how we work with the password. So to keep it a bit strong and like whatever we decide with that. So I'm just going for now with the minimum 8 characters in length, 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase, 1 special character, and stuff like that. So now there's a bit of a functionality after this one. So the user should be able, because we are requesting a phone number, the user should be able to verify their phone number, and the user should be able to verify their email addresses as well. And they both will be done by an OTP. That OTP will be entered and the app would authorize it, so on and so forth. The user should have the option to change their password if they have forgotten it. It will just send an email with the link to their personal or the one email that they're using. With the link, they click on it and they can change the password from there. And that's pretty much it for the whole authentication journey. But one thing is that I had thought of it and I decided that we might be using Twilio for OTPs, since the flow that we need, working with Twilio would make it a bit more organized and easier for us to do so. So we will be verifying our emails and phone numbers through Twilio. This is at a later stage. For now, we can decide to just do it with Firebase or anything like that. But this is something that I would want us to integrate into the system as well. So the rest is for the backend. We have a few endpoints. There are 3 for verification, 1 for verification phone, 1 for email address. Then there is the confirming of any email or phone number through the endpoints, sign up and login. And then at the end, we have this whole diagram that for the creatives, and just to get a general view of the whole module, so we have a flow for it: landing pages, authentication, login, sign up, and they just all link down to home. So everyone in their free time can take a look into this. And please, if you have any feedback on this, you can provide that.
Okay, so this is the flow diagram is part of the system design and this is just the authentication module basically.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you, Danny. Carry on.
All right. So if that was all, I'll move on to the next one. So we, based on the requirements, we have 2 main features of this application. One is the enrollment, and the other one is this qualifications. So for enrollments, the user should be navigated to the enrollment page. First basic requirement, I have written the functional and non-functional requirements together. So the application should fetch a list of institutes from the server. So the institutes that the application is fetching are a part of our system. For example, the application that we're developing has a contract or any sort of commitment to certain institutes, the data of those institutes will be available to us. And the list of institutes that we are fetching are actual institutes inside the region. And the user can have the option to enroll into that institute. And if there is an institute that isn't in our system, but the user wants that to enroll into that institute through our application, or wants to explore that institute through our application, they have the option to request an institute. They can fill in the details for that institute to us, and our teams can work whether they want to add that institute or not. So that's another requirement. After that, the user should be able, like, okay, so point 4 is like the user should be able to request an institute if it does not exist. I just cleared that one in detail. So the data for that is like we have a few variables that we need to fill up for that. So to request an institute, you need to have the institute's name, its location, the country in which that institute is, the type of that institute, higher education, primary school, whatever that institution is, its accreditation status, its affiliation, the website URL, its contact information, and any notes that you want to add with that institution. You can send it to us, and our team can review this information and process it further. So you can submit that. Its submission status should be given to the user, and after that, the user should be done with the process of requesting this institute. The next part is for enrolling. So we had the option to manage children in this application, as if the user of this app was a parent. They would want the same process for their children as well. So the user should be able to enroll for themselves and for their children or child, whatever they want. And the information they want to fill inside this application form would be the name, gender, date of birth, profile, whatever they have, like the basic information of the child or the person involved would be added over here. And after that, if that institute has a criteria, the user should be able to view that criteria. For example, if I want to enroll in bachelor's of some example institute, they have a criteria requirement that I need to have my high school graduation done. So I can have the option to view my qualifications from the system and select any qualification that fits this criteria and submit this along with the other details. And I can, once I've completed the whole form, I can submit that form for enrollment, and I will be prompted for the status in future once that institute decides whether to move on with my application or not. So we have the model for the institutes, what kind of data would be inside this institute. This whole section is for the backend team in specific. And we have the candidates model. We have a few endpoints for this, to request institute, to fetch institutes, to submit the application and everything like that. And then we have the diagrams. So we have the whole flow design. So this part is for requesting an institute, and this part goes on to enrolling into an institute. Over to the right side over here, you are enrolling yourself as a student, but over here this flow defines how you want to add a child as a candidate into the system. Then this part defines the criteria for you, how you move on with that, and in the end you have a successful prompt. So this is for the enrollment module.
Thank you. Is that the last module, or do you want to go through another module as well?
Sir, we have, I created quite a few.
Yeah, okay. So as part of the system design, what you're doing is you're actually creating modules which are then going to work together, and you have created this diagram, and you have created all of the details of how the implementation would work. That's part of system design which you're doing. Give us a quick brief on the other modules. You don't have to go through the details, but let's just see what other modules we have for this app.
Okay, so these were the authentication and enrollment. Next up is the qualification module. So bear in mind that these modules are the main features of this application, and I have considered them necessary for the MVP as well. So if any changes are needed, please do let me know. So for qualifications, like I mentioned inside this enrollment, that the user needs to have qualifications if an institute's enrollment means has a criteria. So for those qualifications, we have a few types. For now, we have the degree. It has its own details. The diploma, it has its own details, institution, course. And then if something that we haven't covered inside our qualifications, we have a general model for that. That is the other. We can put in the generic description about that, and that's pretty much it. One, and after that, we have is a verification process for these qualifications. So if a user decides to add a certain qualification, they should be able to upload once they have filled these fields for the respected qualifications. Once that is done, they would have the option to uh, verify these modules and everything like that. And the verification process goes to the institute for which the qualification was registered on. And once that is done, the whole process is completed. Then we have the data model for this. And inside this data model, we have a few things. So this is for generally for the backend, and every variable is type is defined for the backend and how they want to use it. After that, we have the basic design of it. Like I thought that maybe we can use sub collections if we're storing them into Firebase, or maybe we can use list types or anything like that. So this is up for discussion with the backend once they get a look at this. After that, we have a few endpoints, and then we have this whole general flow for the whole module. This is for the qualifications, and then there is another module, the child module. This is the last of the major modules of the system, and in this module we have the option to add children into the system, and what that brings us to is a user has the ability to manage accounts of their children. So their children can be enrolled into institutes, they can have their own qualifications, they can have their own process. So with that being said, we needed a management module for that part. And inside of this, the user would be able to view the details of the child, edit the details, add, remove, whatever he wants. And the child, like this point number 9 is a bit prominent over here. So the child needs to be eligible for enrollment. So you cannot just add any child into the system and enroll that child into an institute or anything. They need to be filling a criteria to be of a certain age or anything like that. If they don't fill the criteria, the eligibility criteria, we have a new module, tips and information, that would show them basically different tips and information on how to do the upbringing and everything like that. So this module specifically would be powered by AI to be a sort of a PDA for the user of this application. Then we have the endpoints, the data model, everything like that. And then at the end, we have this child module over here. So after that, I did a little bit work on the wallet as well. So what I was trying to do is that the user should be able to process payments and everything through this application instead of going and submitting those fees and for those enrollments that they have done through banks and everything. They can just do it through the application. So they can track the history for the process and everything like that, and they can top up the balance inside the application to automatically process fee payments and everything like that. So we have the models for this and the endpoints as well, and we would be using Stripe for that purpose. So it is the most widely supported platform for payments right now. So this is what we will be using. And at the end, we have its own module. The diagram for the module. So once the enrollment is done, the qualification has been set up, the next thing comes up is classes. So the classes module is supposed to be like, once you've enrolled, you can view the details about the status of your enrollments and what kind of subjects you're studying, what kind of courses you've taken. That information comes in the class module, and inside this class you have the class name, the subjects, the prerequisites of the class, the credits, attendance, distinctions, anything, any kind of progress that you're making in that class comes up inside and is handled through this module over here. And your enrollments, once they have been processed, you get enrolled into a class, and that class comes into this module, and over here you can view the details of those classes. So it again has its own endpoints, and its own model, and at the end it has a very simple module, which is basically just fetching the data from the server and just displaying it to the user over here. And at the very end, we have this notifications module. To sum it up, your enrollment application statuses, your qualification verification statuses, any new updates in your classes, or any notifications in general for your wallets or anything, they will be shown to you through our notification module. For the time being, we have two different sorts of notifications. So we will be dividing them with Firebase, like using Firebase FCM. It's cloud messaging for the notifications that are general, and then there are some specific notifications like application status and anything like that. If it's been verified, it will pop up inside the application for you, and you can view it from there, and any details that are linked to that notification. So these are the basic modules that I had worked on, and I think if we can manage to complete these things, we would have basically a very solid implementation of a cycle in this application, and most of the things will be covered.
All right, that sounds good. So altogether, how many modules we have? How many modules have you divided this into? One, two, three.
It kind of looks, it's 7 right now, sir.
7 modules. Okay, and that's just for the parents app we're talking about at the moment.
Yeah, just for the parents.
Okay, and the and you will do the similar exercise for the education providers side as well before you start developing that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is finalized, and we have a bit of more research done on this. We'll begin the work on the development for the parents app. Once this is done, then we'll move on to the educator.
They will be similar idea. The design will be done in the similar way. Maybe we won't cover it as a recording, but the thing is, so the idea is to modularize and then develop each of the modules. Has anyone got any question for Danny on the design at the moment you've seen?
So I'm saying everything is pretty much clear. All of the modules that he have explained, I think they were pretty much good, and yeah, he explained it really good. So no questions.
All right, good stuff. Again, thank you very much, Danny, for that. That seems a lot of work, and obviously, as we are moving fast, it's been put together very quickly. Anyone who has any questions or any suggestions to it later on as well, you can catch up. This week is all about perfecting the design before we can actually go into the implementation stage. So we still have a few days, and you guys can actually get back to Danny on the designs. Have a look at the documentation which has been shared on Confluence, and you guys can actually comment there or add stuff to it directly, pending that you have discussion. You had the discussion with Danny on this design side. Shall we move to the backend architecture, or is there anything else you guys want to discuss on this one first?
No, sir.
Okay, let's move to that side. Let's discuss that, what we are thinking and how we are going to put this together. Sharia, do you want to go first, or
Sure.
you and Tayyib are sharing this?
So I'll just give the starting brief intros and then. All right. So Danny gave a good detailed explanations of the whole modules and everything, and I think I'm going to take this topic from there and you know, explain kind of what the backend looks like in all of this situation basically. The first thing is the first task for us was that we had to decide what kind of architecture are we going to use on the backend basically, and then obviously we had a discussion, and then we found out that there are only two architectures that we can think of, you know, moving with this application. One of them is the monolithic architecture, and the other one was the microservices. The monolithic is that all of the components of the applications have to have this unified repository, and everything is going to be in that repository dealt with, and the whole code base and everything. As for the microservices, as I earlier mentioned in the previous video, I said that the all of these components are then divided into chunks, just how Danny explained the modules: the educator module, child module, enrollment, institute, etc., etc. The reason why we're going with microservices is pretty simple, and they're actually good reasons, I would say. First thing, we are the setup that we have on the backend. We have CI/CD pipelines and everything. We have robust systems, and that way, when we divide our systems into chunks, it actually not allow us to swiftly, you could say, deploy. But rather, if there is a change inside of these systems, you would just simply go ahead and make the changes inside of the specific repositories, specific modules, and then we'll be able to swiftly deploy it back again without having to interrupt the other services. That's why that's the first reason. The second reason is that the build times for these repositories depends. Obviously, if this business grows up to a scale, and then we would want we would not want downtimes for long times. And then if we go for a monolithic architecture, then a simple change in any module would require us to wait for long times of the build times. And at that point, it's still not certain that the build would succeed or not, thus can have an effect on us, which does not look good. The second reason is that since the application already is divided into modules, as Danny discussed earlier, the main architecture that would support this on the backend is the microservices, and all of the Terraform integrations that we have done for the backend, they all align up with this architecture. So these are the basic reasons that we have thought of from the backend to start working on these architectures and deciding on what architecture to choose from. So that's pretty much the idea behind the backend and these microservices.
That's very good. Thank you very much for that, Sharia.
No
has
worries.
anyone got any questions or suggestions to Sharia at the moment?
Sir, there might not be suggestions, but like I had a discussion with Danny, so I have made some useful use cases for that to help the team throughout, like how the system is gonna react and all, and how the user is gonna react with the system, and if we have any external system with our system integrated, so how it's gonna be like. So let me just share my screen with you.
Okay. While you're sharing your screen, to summarize what Sharia is saying, that we are going through we're going to be using microservices.
The way the user is going to interact with the system, and the whole modules are how gonna they look like. So I have created module-wise use cases for that. If you can see my screen.
Yep.
Yep. So as Danny's requirements, I looked at them and I had created pretty much module-wise use cases. So as you can see that this is the actor user. So the app, when he just first time opens it, how is it gonna look like? As he mentioned, the landing pages and the first time opening of the app, what the app is going to show to the user and how it's going to get displayed. So these are the use cases that I have created. It's going to help the team throughout that how the design and the architecture is going to look like with the whole system.
Okay.
Yeah.
That looks like a beautiful,
Yeah, it's pretty much jumbled up. Like this one was kind of big.
Good sarcasm.
Yeah, I understand.
It looks
But
like I'm seeing a picture, like like a picture of some wild friends of the universe.
like it's a solar
Observable
system.
universe.
It's a solar system.
nice. A solar
It was
system.
pretty hard
Wow.
to make, to be very honest. But yeah, I have like modularized each and everything, each and every use case as per the requirements. So you can all just go through it on Confluence and all. So I've also shared it with you all. So that's how the design is going to look like. And if there are any suggestions or advice, or if any there's addition to be made, you feel free to do it.
Okay, so it will be available on Confluence?
Yes.
All right. Okay, that's good stuff. Thank you, Shozab. That's gives the teams to work a little bit more with the use case diagrams. Anything else we need to discuss on the system architecture and design side?
I think, sir, this is enough for the time being. We have quite a lot of data to work with. So we can start setting up the basic structures while the creatives work with the layouts for us. Once that is done, we can start doing the implementation for that. And we have quite a lot of room for flexibility. So if anything needs changes, I'm sure we would adapt.
Okay, and obviously communication is key to the whole thing. So if there is any changes happening at any point, that everyone is on board and that everyone can actually see what the reflection of the change would be. So I suppose from this point onward, if we are starting to develop stuff from next week, even a minor and small change would actually have a bigger effect somewhere. So it's very important that we lock it down. We even look at it again and again this week. And once we get into the development part, that we don't touch it unless we have to. And also we know how much time implication it will have once we touch something, even a small part of it. So that's why it's very important that every single person looks at these diagrams and these documents, and then feedback to the respective person. If it was to do with Shahryar to Shahryar, if it was with Danny to Danny, and if it was with Shozab to Shozab. What the aim is to perfect it as much as we can by the end of the week, and then we jump into the development after that. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Definitely, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay, good stuff. Tayyab, anything from your side? You and Nilofer have been quiet. Have you guys got anything to add to this?
Sir, I just wanted to add a little bit more on what Shahryar said. Shahryar basically explained us about the development on the backend, but he also, I think we should also mention that we would be deploying the whole code on GCP servers, and they would be working on Dockers, and the images would be we'll be saving the images in the artifact registry in Google Cloud. So that's from there we are going to basically run our code on our servers, and from there the front end will be connected with the backend. So that is the part that I wanted to share.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. Thank you for sharing that.
And also one last thing, we would be basically managing all that CI/CD pipeline and all the deployment through Terraform, which is a very powerful tool that we've been using. So yeah, that's it. That's from my side.
All right, amazing, good stuff, Tayyip. Thank you very much for that input. We have, I hope we have captured all of these as documentation, because remember, it's going to be very important to maintain good documentation throughout. And documentation has to be done when? Throughout, basically, not at the end. All right. Okay, I'm just, as if like, I'm in front of a class or something now. Just asking, as you guys do that normally as well. But for this project, because the project is fast moving, I don't want people to be slowing down or leaving things out from the documentation, because it will be very important to know what is where. So confluence is the key to the whole thing, so you can all calibrate on the documentation. Nilofer, anything from your side?
Nothing, sir.
You were doing some stuff in terms of documentation, so you have taken the tasks of the release notes and all that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's part of your documentation, and just stay on top of it, please. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Bilal, anything from your side?
Okay, there you go. No, sir. I have good with the requirements, so let's start creating the prototype.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Thank you very much, all. We'll close this call, and we will reconvene next week for our first ever recorded planning meeting, let's say, because the next one I want to do is I want to have the planning meeting recorded. So on Monday, that's the first thing we're going to be doing, planning the week for development. But until then, you have got loads of things to work on and loads of loose ends to tie before we can go into development. Any questions or any clarifications needed throughout, please communicate with each other, and please communicate with me as well if there is any need for anything. We need to take out all the deficiencies. We need to take out anyone waiting on anyone. It has to be a very lean process in order to achieve this challenge and to get to week 6 and know that we have actually been able to deliver an MVP. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, all. I'll speak to you guys soon on the next call.